Welcome to another episode of HS Game Times by the Numbers with Eric Paul Johnson. I'm Pep Fernandez, and EPJ's football knowledge unparalleled. So we start with the CIF State Bowl game. Eric, you were there. Centennial taking on De La Salle. The Spartans winning the state championship there, and another win for their head coach.
Yeah, Bob Lattiser became only the 12th coach ever to post at least a second victory against Matt Logan. But question of the week last week was, which coach has the most victories in his career over Matt Logan? And of course, that is former Norco coach Gary Campbell, who had 4 of them, beat Matt Logan in his first 3 meetings, 97, 98, 99, and also beat him in 2003.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see Centennial and De La Salle playing again in a state bowl game in the future and keep this rivalry going. All right, by the numbers, every Tuesday, lots of good stats in here. This week, Eric, we're starting with Rim of the World's Jacob Taylor. He shattered the single-season rushing record, and even nationally, he made some headlines.
Yeah, I mean, that was the impressive thing, getting to the 4,000-yard mark. Only now 7 players have ever done that nationally. Derrick Henry of Florida also doing it this year, was the nation's leading rusher. But Jacob Taylor finishing second in the nation this year with a little over 4,000 yards. So probably a mark that's going to be hard to top in future years. The previous record was held by David Dotson, and that was a mark that stood for, over 20 years. So definitely a very impressive performance by Jacob Taylor. But the thing he would say best about this season, they came away with the title.
CIF championship. And Taylor, along with Banning Hairston, going 1-2, right, in terms of touchdowns.
Yeah, in the nation, 1-2. 57 touchdowns for Taylor and 56 touchdowns for Hairston, both of them, passing the old inland area mark of 50 touchdowns in one season.
From the same league, can you believe that? That's pretty awesome.
And they played twice, yeah. I mean, that's the amazing thing.
Those head-to-head games were nuts, especially that first time during league play. All right, now going to Centennial, and we can go a lot of different ways to talking about the Huskies offense here, but let's start with what they did as a team, total yards and points on a season. I mean, the Huskies were off the charts, breaking their own records, what they had set back in 2010.
Yeah, yardage-wise, 8,000 is kind of that huge mark, and Centennial's the only one before this season who had gotten there with 8,011 yards in, the 2010 season. But the extra game this year kind of helped the Huskies set a new record. So they finished out the year with 8,560 yards. And then points, with 784 points this season, they also set a new Riverside County record. It's also the second highest point scoring total in area history, only to Bloomington, which had 880 in 1994, which at that point set a national record.
And a lot of those points and yards coming via the quarterback, Robert Weber. He had a monster year as a junior for the Huskies.
Yeah, I think that was the thing that surprised Coach Matt Logan more than anything, is how much he relied on Robert Weber to throw the football and how well he responded. Weber throwing for 3,967 yards this season, breaking the old mark by a couple hundred yards. So very promising season. Also 43 touchdowns, which is the second most in area history. Gives Centennial a good foundation for that offense next year. He, along with Trey Watson, Barry Ware, Devontae McNeely, good core of skill players back for the Huskies.
Yeah, Centennial will be good once again. Now, high school football is usually dominated with a good ground game, but we had some guys catching the rock this season who put up some big numbers, and let's start with Michael Stewart at Tockwitz, and he'll be back for a senior season.
Yeah, that's another one impressive. 96 used to be the benchmark in the area for reception. Michael Stewart went beyond that with 98 catches this season, and it approached almost 1,400 yards. So definitely probably the top receiver in the area coming back next year that we'll be looking at, him along with Barry Ware. And but KJ Young, not too far behind him, with 91 catches and almost 1,600 yards. KJ Young also finished his career in the top 5 or 6 all-time in receptions, touchdowns, and career receiving yards.
And let's not forget about Khalil Sharp at Marietta Mesa, as well as his quarterback for most of the season, Chase Chambers.
Yeah, Khalil Sharp ended up setting career record for receptions with 190. Most of those passes obviously were thrown by Chase Chambers. Chase Chambers was on pace to set the area record for career attempts and completions, but a knee injury at the end of the season kind of limited that, and he ended up finishing second in both of those categories.
So I think that's a wrap on football, Eric, right?
Yeah, I think.
So
we do have that All-Star game coming up very soon.
We do have the All-Star Classic, that's correct, in January. But next Tuesday, by the numbers, we're going to delve into hoops, right?
Winter sports. We'll see a little bit of basketball, some soccer, and maybe even a little bit of wrestling in there, and some polo as well. So definitely going to be looking out, to some new sports. So it'll be a very interesting
Assuming if on Friday It's not the end of the world, correct?
That's true. Could be the last by the numbers.
But we're scheduled to be back on Tuesday with another episode of By the Numbers. For EPJ, I'm Pep Fernandez. We'll see you next time.